YouTubers, and welcome back. And today I'm going to answer a very common question I get asked a lot. And as my YouTube channel starts to grow, it's come to a point where I just can't answer all these messages on Facebook because it just takes up too much time. So today I'm talking about headers on the LT1 or a Gen 2 small block Chevy, whatever you guys want to call it. I don't care, but there's definitely very minute differences about this motor that makes it just a little bit different that you're going to find out if you try to do some swaps like this, especially when it comes to the headers, because there's going to be clearance issues on the spark plugs. Definitely things have to change, and there's not really that big of a variety of headers as far as long tubes that go in between the frame rails of your S10 when it comes to an LT1 or a small block Chevy. And today I'm going to answer all those questions and why I'm running mid-length headers over long tubes. So let's get started. All right, so the only long tubes that I know about that they make that work on a Gen 1 or Gen 2 are going to be these guys right here. They say Gen 1, but I've actually had these headers work on a Gen 2 motor or LT1. I refer to the Gen 1 as a small block Chevy. I refer to the LT1 as the Gen 2. Now there's a new Gen 2 out there, which basically confuses it. But I was out in a time where Gen 1s and Gen 2s and the LSs, they're all in their own groups before they brought back the LT1 again. So with that out the way, let's talk about these headers. These headers will work, but they are, number one, they are a 1.5 primary tube, which is smaller than these guys right here. I'll tell you which headers I have here in a second. And it is a 2.5 inch collector. But the biggest problem with running these long tubes on aftermarket heads or LT1s, these are a round port head. Most of the aftermarkets are either square or D. And the problem with these is that they will block the top and the bottom of your port on these heads. So all the benefits of a long tube header is pretty much dumped down the drain if you want ones that run in between the fender wall. They do make race headers that will exit out this way. But as you can see, all this has to move. You're going to have turning radius problems, so you can't turn your tires as much. So I didn't want any of that. So the next best thing I could do was these guys right here. So let's talk about which headers I'm running and why I'm running these headers. All right, so the headers I have are Hedman V8 S10 swap headers for Gen 1, and they will work on a Gen 2, as you can see. And they are the 1 3/4 tubes. So automatically the tube is bigger. Number two, you have a square port, which will work on more aftermarket heads. And the collector on this is 3 inches. They give you these little crappy 2.5 inch reducers. I didn't use those. I opted to go with true 3 inch exhaust going out with straight through mufflers, because on this motor, what I didn't want, if I couldn't have long tubes that would produce the results that I wanted to have, I went with the largest mid-length header that I could find without restrictions going all the way back. Will a long tube give me a little more horsepower? Absolutely. But these were a compromise between drivability without having your exhaust going down there and out and having turn radius problems. And these guys work pretty good because the long tubes that are the circle ports, I know because I've had them, go down through there, and it is a mofo to get to your oil filter on this side. I actually had to put some ratchet straps and just pull them back a little bit to get the oil filter out. And they also, like I said before, they were blocking the port. And these guys right here, I can tell you for a fact, if you're blocking the port thinking you're doing good with long tubes, if you're blocking the port, they will run slower than these mid-length headers right here. I know for a fact it ran 3 miles an hour faster. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Now, do they make a badass race header for the Gen 1, Gen 2 style motors? in an S10? Of course they do. But these are going to be fender exit headers. And there does come to a point in every build that you do that there's going to be a fine line between street and all-out race. Now, some guys do have these and they take the exhaust down there, like I said, but I didn't want to compromise any drivability with my setup. Will one day I go to this? Probably, but for right now, I can guarantee you with this 350 cubic inch motor and these headers, I am not seeing a sizable difference in horsepower if I had a long tube on here. All right, so I'm about to get into clearance issues with this particular header right here. Of course, I cannot relate to all headers. I can only relate to what I've had on my vehicle. And this is where the monkey wrench kind of comes into that. They make a bunch of swap kits for these small blocks or LT1. You can use the exact same swap kit for a small block Chevy and it will work on an LT1. The only difference is with mine, when I got this truck, I got it a long time ago, and the guy I bought it from, it was already set up for a V8 swap, and he made his own mounts. So there's probably a good possibility on whatever swap kit you have, where you set it up, the headers are going to be in a slightly different location, either up or down, side to side. So there's always going to be minute differences that you have to take into consideration when you're putting these headers on. A lot of guys say, oh, they didn't fit and blah, 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 blah. I can tell you right now, in my experience, nothing on a V8 S10 fits exactly right on all the vehicles. Not going to happen. So you're going to have to learn to do some fabrication on your unit unless you want to pay someone else, spend a lot of money. I learned all this fabrication, all this welding out of necessity, that I didn't spend a lot of money and I got things how I wanted them on my particular setup. All right, so first we're going to look down in here. This is where this becomes pretty tricky, even on these mid-length headers, trying to get up in there. And if you look, the bolt for these is right here. So you have very, very limited space right here. And let me zoom in a little more real quick with this GoPro, or just push it in there. But if you look right there, I had to notch the frame so that it would clear with 3-inch pipe. Now yours, you might not have to do that, considering whatever swap kit you have to put your motor in, but chances are there's going to be some clearance issues right there. And also, this top bolt, I could not get to it right there. So I had to make trap doors in my unit. All right, so over here on the passenger side, and basically what I did, I put these wing nuts right here. So these guys come off right here. I'll probably speed this up because it's going to take a little bit to get them off. It is a tight fit. And right there, that's how I get to that bolt right there. And this side is definitely a mofo, but if you take the light, you can see where I had to notch the frame to get that pipe to clear all that. And it is damn sure right up against the bell housing of the transmission too. So you can see, if you want to go 3-inch, you're gonna have to do some finagling to get that guy in there. And we're over here on the driver's side, and of course, I had to do the exact same thing to make it easier to get to those bolts on the collector. If you're wondering what these holes are for, you can see what the holes are for. That's how I get to my bell housing bolts, because it is pretty much impossible to get to them without drilling a hole in there. Mine is definitely not a show car. I don't care. I just want to make it easy to work on. So that's why those holes are there. All right, so now we're over here on this side. This is going to be the driver's side. Of course, right here you can see the steering shaft. This is a steering shaft I use out of a Jeep. I have a whole video on this. This one definitely has a little more clearance. I like it better. And this is definitely something I got to point out. My heads, if y'all see my other videos, I ported the snot out of this. So you might be able to get away with a different style header without blocking your ports. But I would definitely go with something that's larger, because if you want to go larger in the future, you're going to have to go to either a fender exit or a mid-length header like this, so that way you're not blocking any ports with aftermarket heads and so on. Now, this one right here, this plug is going to be an issue because this header right here is for a straight port, and of course LT1s are an angle port. So what I had to do with this, I had to raise the headers up. So you can see right here, I walled out the holes and I put little beads right here and right there, so that way the header sat higher on the head. Because if not, this plug right here is very, very, very close and it's hard to get in. And you also have to massage the back side of this, like beat it in some or notch it, so that way you're not burning up your boots on number one right here. This one right here is definitely going to be your main issue on an LT1. All right, the other plug that's likely going to be an issue is this guy right here. This one is definitely a pain in the butt to get to, and so is this one. But I have made a tool that makes my life a lot easier, which is, I got it right here. Here it is. So the way I get to this one, I use my little nifty tool, and I go underneath right here. See this? Now usually I put it on up top, but I'll try to do this one-handed. Here we go. I put it on top. And then when that comes down, you can get to this, and you can either go, you know, that way or that way, and you can loosen it up. See? If I want to loosen it up, I could right now. Turn it that way or that way. But I'm not going to take it off because it's really hard with one hand. And then, of course, when you take it off, you can just reach in there and, with your fingers and do that. Because that one's definitely going to be a problem. The other one is, like I said before, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be this one right here. Pull this off. And the way it sits, you can't get any regular tools on there. So that's where this comes in handy. That's why this is shaved down right here, you can see. And so I can get it around that plug and get that on there and get that guy out. So this side right here is going to be your number one dilemma. You'll be like, how in the world can I get these out or do this? Is you're going to have to modify it. And these headers are so big around stock ports, you can move this whole guy up, which you're going to have to get around this plug right here. Like I said, it does take some fabrication, not very hard, and you can do it if you have the time and just a little bit of know-how. With a cheap, inexpensive flux core welder, you can do this, because I did it. If I can do it, you can do it. Now, like I said before, if you guys want to see what I did to my headers to make them work on my LT1, you probably won't have to go to the full extent that I went to make a little more clearance on the top, so that way it wouldn't block the top of the port on these headers right here. Chances are, if you're going to keep the stock size port on your exhaust, you won't have to modify them nearly to the extent that I have done that. You're just going to have to pull them up, because right here we have a stock port on an LT1, and I brought mine up way over here. You will have to bring them up some, so that way you can get that spark plug in, and you will have to notch them a little bit right there to actually clear it all, but it is definitely possible, as you see right here. Now, I do have a video that shows exactly what I did to these if you're going to go to that next level or pour them as much as I did, which you probably won't have to, because I got a little silly with mine. But it goes to show that if you have a little bit of time, just take your time, you can definitely get it to work. Now, there's one thing I want to show you guys, and this is where a lot of people with LT1s, and they look at them, they see a small block Chevy or a Gen 1, where they get very confused. They're like, well, why can't I use an LT1 head on my small block Chevy or Gen 1? Well, right here is the main kicker, and this is huge, and this is why the block is different and the head is different, and why none of this stuff is interchangeable from a Gen 1 to a Gen 2. On a Gen 1, there is a big hole right here and a big hole right here. On the LT1, that's where the oil flows down. All right? So let's go over here. And this is a Gen 1 intake on a Gen 2 LT1. This is how your water comes up on a Gen 1. The pump pumps it into the block, comes from the block up to the heads, out right here to your water neck. There is no hole right here on the LT1 heads. Like I said, very easy to see right there. So if you were to put a LT1 Gen 2 head on a small block Chevy, it will bolt up, but the water will never make its way out of the block, out your thermostat neck right here, because there is nothing that lets water come right here. And that's why it's kind of cool about the LT1 is like I just put a little piece of wood right here, and it's only sole purpose is just so I can make grounding points right there, because nothing is used in here in the LT1. So this whole thing doesn't really have to be there, but it's nice to mount nitrous brackets like that to your LT1. So if you guys like this video and you want to see more videos like this, another key difference between the small block Chevy and the LT1, Gen 1, Gen 2, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the cooling system. Completely different. And the connections right here, you have to have a different T right here. You have to come from the back of the head with the crossover. And if you don't want all those heater stuff and everything else that's on the stock cars to be there, what pump to use, and what I did to this radiator to make it work good. And this thing stays ridiculously cool. It can be like 110 degrees outside, and this motor will never go over 190. So if you guys want me to do a video on the cooling system next, just let me know. I'm gonna see how you guys like these videos, and if you like them, I'll go over things like this, a couple little things I did to my S10 for this LT1. But anyways, you guys keep wrenching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and that like button. And until next time, peace.